So the
So
stories
one
are
of
the beginning of everything.
the in one of the when you're dealing with human to human connections, um, it really does come down to your audience. So it's like, we at DEGA, we first took a look at ourselves and we said, these are the things that we believe in. These are the values that we hold true. And then we built a narrative around about DEGA for that. And, a lot of the people, I would say, the majority of the people who have shown up to the project are the audience that we would want to be for ourselves. So it's kind of like, when we talk about, in financial inclusion, and we talk about, helping helping each other out, and being creative. It's like those are things that, Freak, Carlos, everyone holds dear. And it's like, how do we bring more of that beauty into the world, and into someone like myself? I've been playing video games. I don't need to put a date on, a sell by date on myself, but I've been playing video games since like 1978. And I have seen it evolve as an art form and a narrative form and a storytelling form, like, over decades. And it's like, I can't think of, at least for myself, I can't think of a better art form to engage in, because it's got cinematography, it's got, writing, it's got music. Like, I have a son, and my son, that's all he does is listen to video game music. He doesn't listen to like popular music. He will get in the car with me, and he will be like, "Hey, Dad, you want to hear the new song from Final Fantasy 16?" And I'm like, "Yes." And he'll play it, and it's like this orchestra masterpiece of, like, beautiful art. And it's like, why would I not want to engage in an art form? Oh, geez, I'm a crow freak.
We're talking about video game music. I gotta give it a
Yeah,
background, bro.
well, it's the thing, and there's just such a wonderful creative force around video games, and I can't think of anything else that I'd want to support.
No, for me, it's about. So I've been in a search, and I've been through everything. Movie making. I've made films. I made music videos. I made companies, tech companies, even biotech companies. But it's always a search. It's. I discovered later that it was kind of like all these things that I was doing were just tools to build myself up as a creative force. And at the end, my journey, it needed to be reflected in what I do and what I get involved with in what I help to build. And when DEGA arrived, it connected with my quest, if,
Yeah,
if, if we can call it that. It connected with my personal journey in a deep way. And the way we're building everything for DEGA is allowing people to connect with this massive journey, with this massive story that we're building out of our own beliefs. But it connects in so many levels, because even if you
yeah.
look at the financials, tells a story.
Well, that's the thing, freak, is, we don't really talk about ourselves very much, and people don't, they can go and they can look at the white paper and all that kind of stuff, but there is a narrative behind those, like, 4 lines about what we do. Like me, my career arc, I started, I've worked in operations for, you know, three of the largest media companies in the world. And I started in media, and I was, I learned, how media businesses operate, and how, I worked in digital advertising, I worked in publishing, I worked in with movie, and I ended up being a consultant, and ended up, for a large consulting firm. And I went and I worked with EA Sports. I worked with, and those projects were so hard to come by because everybody wanted to go and work on them. And when I got into AI, that's another part of my journey um, as an operator. Um, I ended up in the intelligence community, and it is the complete opposite. It's like I was going in there with artistic ideas from media companies, and they do, they do appreciate it, but it's like, you know, they really do just like they're like columns and rows, and I'm sitting there like building them, multi-dimensional, three-dimensional, temporal, spatial, like graph presentations of how data works together and all that kind of stuff. And they appreciate the prettiness of it, but they don't really get how to use it because they think in columns and rows. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think it connects with something that I call like means to an end, and we focus a lot on the means and and we make goals for the means and not goals for the end. I don't know if it paints the picture clear, but it's kind of like we ask someone, "Oh, I want to get paid more." Like, yeah, but why do you want to get paid more? Oh, because I want to move to another house. And why do you want to move to another house? Because I want to be closer to my mom. Oh, why do you want to be closer to your mom? Because I want my kids to grow up with a grandma and have that. But why do you want that? Because my grandma has the stories of my family. Okay, so you're talking about you want to get your kids closer to the story of your family and what your family means. You're not talking about money, really. So when you discover there's an end to your goal, that's the real goal, you will find there's a lot of different paths to get to that goal. So that's what happened with me in life. When I discovered the end goals, all the mean goals disappear, and a lot of my anguish and my depression and a lot of the things, also I understood where it came from. And even though, like, I was talking to a team member 1 week 2 weeks ago, and he was like, "Oh my god, you're in Forbes magazine." He's like, "Oh my god, that's my dream." I was like, "Why is it your dream to be in Forbes magazine, bro? I've been there. What will happen is your grandfather will be proud of you for 2 days. You will be excited. And then 2 days later, your life will be exactly the same. You still will feel empty, or you still feel like you need to achieve more, and you still feel that is not enough. And you still look at people that have done more than you do. So that's not the point. That's not where you got to look at. You got to look at your end goals. And that's what happens when you join a project like DEGA. We're aiming for higher level goals that are not mean goals. I don't know if I'm explaining myself in the
No,
way I
you
should. Is
are. I mean, it's like, there's something going on right now in the world called the meaning crisis. There's a meaning crisis, and people, it's expressing itself different ways globally. In the United States, you had something like some of the weird stuff that's going on in our politics right now is part of the meaning crisis. You know, the Great Resignation, people just like quitting their jobs in the United States. I don't know if that's a global phenomenon, but I do know it happens a lot in the United States
it
because
is, it is.
people don't, people aren't connected to their work anymore. They don't know why they're doing what they're doing anymore. So, when the first thing Carlos and I did, and if you on the call don't know, I started as a senior advisor for the DEGA project. I wasn't on the team. I joined the team later, after I saw what Carlos was capable of, and I was like, wow, this thing's got legs. But the first thing Carlos and I did was to say, what's the world you want to live in, and how do you want to engage with DEGA to make DEGA have that happen. And Carlos is just like, he's like, there are and this is something that a lot of people and I'm speaking from a United States perspective. A lot of people in the United States never leave the United States. They think everything is the United States. And it's like the level of creativity that is available in the global South is incredible compared to some of the creativity. And I've been around some of the most creative people on the planet. And it's like to sit down with someone like Carlos, who's coming from Costa Rica and Honduras, and have him lay out this technical masterpiece in front of me. Because DEGA is, I mean, it's a technical masterpiece. People don't see the technology that we're building behind the scenes, um, but it is. And someone with 25 years of technology, product, and operations experience, you know, speaking from that position, uh, I've seen technical masterpieces, and this is one of them. It's like, so I was like very, very quick to get on board, but backing away from the tech a little bit and going back to the actual vision. We sat there for 2-3 hours, and we were like, how do we tell this vision story about the world you want to live in a approachable way that everyone can understand? And we settled, I wouldn't necessarily say settled, we arrived at, you know, how do we get people all over the world the tools that they need to be able to express themselves creatively? And how do we do that in blockchain, and what's the best medium to do that in? Gaming, yes, because it's like you can be an illustrator and do something for a video game. You can be a writer and do something for a video game. So that gets back to what I mean by kind of like multimedia. It's like the most powerful multimedia platform out there. It tells stories, and it engages you in a way that a movie or a book or um, a movie or a book or a song alone cannot do, because it's when all of those things come together in a symphony. It's like it's a different level of experience.
And you
So
become part of the story.
you are in this, you embody the story. You actually embody the story in a way that you can't when you're just watching a movie or reading a book. You're more of an observer. You're more of a creeper. You're kind of like looking at it from the outside. But things like this is why the metaverse does have a lot of promise, because it allows people to actually step into the experience of the story. And even if the story is about you, and that's where that's when we say your NFT is you. That's because we want you to actually step into the story of DEGA, and experience DEGA from a different point of view, from the first person point of view.
And that's why I love when we talk about DEGA as an RPG game and RPG games. And I played Dungeons and Dragons for like years, and
Oh, me
also
too,
played
bro.
video games. And one of the things, the magical things, is when you're playing an RPG, is you build your subconscious story into that. Like your character is a reflection of you into that world. So when we talk about DEGA being an RPG game, it's kind of like what we're saying is you're going to be a player here, but you're also building the story with us. There's the dungeon master of this game only follows what the characters of the games decide to do. You can have an adventure prepared, but what if all are chaotic evil? You destroy, yeah, the king gives you a treasure to rescue whatever town that is under the spell of whatever, and you decide to kill the king and steal the treasure. You just fucked the adventure, but you made up a new story, and the dungeon master has to adapt. So when I see that, and I see like all our community, everyone in our community has a voice, they're free, they're being listened, is because we need you to build this. So the story is there in principles, values, and a vision, but is being written by everyone that comes into this world.
Well, Freak, why don't you and I can wax creative and talk about the artistic. Oh, and just to let everyone know, I mean, I grew up in a family of like musicians, artists, chefs. Everyone in my family except for my dad, who did electron beam welding, but he would even come home and draw. We were always doing creative projects. So it's like I come from a very deep creative background already. But why don't we talk about one of the examples of community feedback, where we, as the we're the dungeon masters, we're providing the the a framework that can be improved upon by the community. Because that's the other thing too. I did want to bring this up before we actually jump into that too. Everything we are doing at DEGA, never think we are done. Never think anything that we put out there is done. Never think anything is perfect, because the only thing that's perfect in this universe is change and evolution. So it's like those, we whatever we are doing, the reason we ask for feedback so much and the reason that we try and get people to, give us advice on what we're doing is because you can only stare in the mirror for so long before someone comes along and says, hey, you've got a spot on the back of your shirt. Because there's a point of view that someone else might have on a situation that will completely like change the frame of everything that's going on. And every single set of eyeballs, ears, and brains that are associated with DEGA is another point of view that we want to take into consideration as we're growing this project. So when you see me get on Discord and I'm like, we couldn't do this without you, it's not just because of your support of the project, it's because you have a valuable point of view for us. I don't care about opinion, fact, anything like that. Just come out and say it, because even if behind what you're saying, there's still information there that can help us improve as a project. So, all that being said, Freak, one of the things that we got a lot of feedback on and we took into consideration and we started a conversation on was the creative contest. Um, do you want to kind of like go through kind of like some of the points of the creative contest and kind of
Yeah,
like some of the
I want to start with one of the whys of the creative contest, because it is important and it is connected to why we're making the decisions after the feedback. And the creative contest is part of our vision that everyone can be a creator. Anyone and everyone is a creator, and we want to see that people are reaching their fullest potential on that end. And we know in our community there's amazing people with a lot of voices and thoughts and ideas that need to go out. But creatively, it creating content is one of the toughest, less well paid, I don't know,
should
jobs,
be.
gigs, or crafts in the world. And for me, it's kind of like it should be backwards, because storytellers build the structure of our tribes, of our cities, of our culture, of our countries, and everything. But I'm not gonna get in there. But it makes so right now what we created is kind of like we want to see this creative power, this creative force, and see also what people have in their heads around DEGA. How is your vision? How do you connect with DEGA, and in what levels? Because when we're looking or reading or listening, we can see the way you read everything we've said, and you adapt it, and your brain collects it and then gives it another output. So it helps us also understand what we're doing and how
That's
we're
true.
doing it.
Yeah.
So that's why we put out a contest like this. So that was the main reason. So when we go out, we said, hey, we want everyone to create whatever you want to create, and there will be a panel of judges choosing the finalists, but then we will let the community in Twitter to choose the winners in likes, retweets, and comments. That was what had happened. So what did we get here? First, we got amazing creations, Rabbit. I don't know if you saw them all, but
Oh,
damn.
of course I did. Like I said, just to let y'all know, Freak sent them all to me, and he's like, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "No comment. I cannot be a judge of this stuff. I refuse to be a judge of creation. It's like it's very very difficult to do for someone like me who thinks everything is beautiful. You know, it's like so I always step out of that creative judging thing. But one of the things that we did notice is by letting everyone create, just go create whatever you want. Um, what we noticed is a level of effort piece of this. Like it's much easier. It takes much less time to craft a meme than it does to do like a 5-minute video, or a 10-minute video, or write a blog post or something like that. So, Freak, you want to talk about kind of like what we were thinking about in that regard?
Yeah. So the first thing is, yeah, it's difficult to, if do an evaluation on different types of content. It's kind of impossible to look at the blog post and the writings we got versus memes that were really good and amazing videos. Explaining what this is all about, even if they were animations or explainer YouTube videos like blogs, and it made it almost impossible.
Yeah, it was impossible. I mean, there were people, I can't mention any names because one of them just showed up, but there are people who created like awesome videos. And I'm like looking at these 5 videos, I'm looking at these 5 videos and I'm like, we have to actually cut out a lot of these videos because we have to represent across different mediums. And I'm like, that's not cool. It's like, that's not cool. So, Freak, what are we going to do?
No, but it was like betraying our purpose. That's how it felt.
Yeah, it did. It didn't feel good. It did not feel good. And you even came to me and you're like, I don't know what to, you're like, I feel terrible about this. I have to do this, this, and that. Like, well, we have to change the contest. Let's see what the community has to say. And we did get feedback from it.
And we got a lot of feedback, and the feedback is connected. So we're gonna start doing the contest by themes. Imagine like the DEGA content contest is like the Oscars for creation, and we're gonna have different sections that are best written content, best video blog, best. We're gonna have different sections, but we're not gonna price them in one ceremony. They're gonna be timed. They're gonna be spaced out. So we will have 2 weeks of one, 2 weeks of another one, 2 weeks. So you also have time to prepare and do content that way. That's the first feedback we're taking into action.
So what we're gonna do, just to make sure that I'm saying it in my way while Freak says it in his. Each content contest is going to be distinct to a specific media type. So it's like we will have one contest for videos, we will have one contest for blog posts, we will have one for memes, so that it's not like, it doesn't get boring. It's not always going to be a meme. Sometimes it's going to video, sometimes it'll be writing, and so on and so forth. But what we're also going to have to do, just to make sure that we have quote unquote traction on those contests, we're thinking of doing something almost like the how you have to actually have to sign up beforehand. Because if we get one person signing up, because writing is hard to do, okay, and well, now with ChatGPT 3, we got to watch that too. But writing can be harder to do. So it's like, we may only get like 1, 2, 3 people signing up for the writing contest. We need to have a certain threshold that we need to reach in order for that contest to be real, because I don't want to see like, one person signing up for writing and they just win. So we're going to try and put a little control around that as well, just to make sure that contest has traction before we just start giving out prizes. Does that sound like what we were talking about, Freak?
Yeah, it sounds perfect like that. So, and then the next one is the other part that we kind of like felt like it was missing something. It's the sorry. It's the voting part. The voting part kind of like also left us, a little bit empty on that end, and we have to come up with a different idea of the voting content so it doesn't become kind of like, how do you say, like, we're not looking for Twitter likes and retweets and Twitter exposure with this contest. We're looking to really find the best creations out there, because you're all amazing creators, but it's the best creations that are made in a certain amount of time. So we need to connect with that, but it was becoming about who has more Twitter traction. And not everyone is a Twitter creator. Not everyone is a Twitter influencer. You know, I'm doing videos in YouTube. I'm doing activities in Discord. It's different. So we also had to reflect the reality of what we were looking for instead of awarding. Like Twitter reach is for the daily contest. You know, it's that you get 1,000 tokens if you do that activity. That's for that. But content creation is creativity, and we want to reward talent, and we want to reward craftsmanship. So what I saw is kind of like it became a Twitter competition. Who gets more likes? Please support me on this. Please support me on this. And that's not the point. So we're gonna change the voting. You want to say something before I tell you how we're gonna do it?
No, keep going.
No, and the idea for this, we're gonna do it in a way that people can only vote once and can really vote for what they like. So the voting is gonna happen in Discord, and you're only gonna be able to vote once for all the. So it's gonna be limited. So if you want to vote and you gotta go to Discord and you gotta press the button for whoever you like, and that will be your registered vote, and you get no more votes on that. So it will be about people watching all the content and then choosing which piece of content, not which creator, but which piece of content you wanna give the award to, regardless of who did it.
Yep, that removes any kind of like personal bias. It'll just be the art form. Um, but the thing that we're still trying to work out is we do still want to use our reach, because we do have reach, to be able to expose you and your creations. So that's something that we're still working out. How do we still get you out there, um, with the things that you're doing? Excuse me, with the things that you're doing, but at the same time, trying to give everyone a bias-free vote on the content itself.
Yep. So I don't know what you all think of it. If you have opinions and even suggestions on how to run it better, if you want to jump onto the
Yeah, no, please.
stage.
Yeah, Freak and I are very, very happy to entertain anybody who wants to grab the mic and kind of like give feedback on any of the stuff that we've been talking about up to this point.
And we've got participants. We got Freiler, just my two Satoshi. We got Luana. So yeah, feel free to.
And we do understand that some people are shy, so if you want to just type in comments too, or comment on comment on the thread here. We can take feedback that way too if you're shy.
I'm trying to give Freiler. Oh yeah, I guess I did it.
Yeah, you got it. Hey, good morning, guys.
What's up?
No.
Good morning, Freiler.
Oh, sorry, my dog started like running across the floor after the cat.
I thought you were gonna play some. He's like, hold on. I thought he was gonna like put on the Freiler theme song that he wrote for himself.
Oh no way, no, just hardcore chilling like that. No, I just wanted to say, as someone who participated in your guys' content creation, that I thought you guys did a really good job. I'm out here making the content anyways, and I'm sure a lot of people are too. So just having the opportunity to potentially earn some DEGA in the process was just a lot of fun. So it's really great to hear that you guys have already taken feedback and that you're really looking at the system and trying to make it more fun and more fair. So I'm definitely going to keep participating regardless. But I just wanted to say that I had fun and I really enjoyed it. And I think a lot of other people got really excited about it too. Obviously, you can see a lot of great content came out of it. So don't be hard on yourselves, I
have a question for you, Freiler, because we're looking at So we're looking for a way that all these things that everyone created don't get lost in time. So kind of we want to create kind of like a showcase, or where can I find all the content being made about this, or because they all explain what DEGA is in a really creative way. So how do you have ideas on how can we do that and build like this? I don't know if it's a Twitter channel, Twitter. I don't know if it's a Discord channel or a YouTube kind of link series, or because there's text, there's video, there's
I was
memes,
gonna,
there's a lot of things.
yeah, having all the different mediums does make it difficult. I don't know, off the top of my head, Discord channel would probably be like the best place to be compiling that stuff for now. Uh, yeah, it's a tough one, man. But that would be great to have, because like you said, it does kind of get lost to the Twitter timeline and everything if that's where we're posting it. That's why I prefer to keep everything posted to YouTube, just because it's kind of like, a database of all your stuff right there. So, but like you said, not everybody's doing a video.
Freak, one of the things that you whip out videos pretty quickly, Freak. We've talked with some of our partners about doing kind of like showcase videos for their projects. Maybe it's a single long form video that just goes through all the content. Even if it's a picture, you can put that picture in YouTube. But the writing is the hard piece. So let's take that one. Let's take that one offline for sure and think about it a little bit more. But that's actually a good idea. How do we what's our digital media library? Where's the library of Alexandria?
That would probably
Alexandria.
I feel like that would be maybe the best way, yeah, because not everyone's probably going to go hop on that Discord link, but I think everyone would tune into the Freaky Rabbit show for a 1 hour spectacular.
Well, we're not that entertaining.
Oh, I disagree.
We're definitely not that entertaining.
Rabbit, we get hectic, we get messy, we get hectic. So I guess.
No, well, I mean, but I hope we at least make sense. It's like that's when you and I get going, we can really get going. And it's 7:30 in the morning for me, so I'm not even in rare form yet. So Freiler, did you have one thing, Freiler, that popped out in one of the statements you made is being hard on yourself. It takes a lot of discipline to, put a creation out there and get critical review on it and still keep going. And it's like there's a resiliency that guys like Freak and I have, where we don't see it as like criticism. This is why, we don't really fear FUD in DEGA, because even in FUD, there is something that we can pull out of that to improve what we're doing. So, when you've been in crypto projects in the past, everyone screams FUD and the person gets ejected from the community. No, we don't do that here. It's like, I see that as like intel. They are are they seeing something we are not seeing? So it's like, we are not, we don't take any kind of feedback, or when we're saying we're doing an improvement side of things, we really don't take it personally. Or at least I try not to, because it's like we are all on a development journey. And it's like, if we can't give ourselves the opportunity to make a mistake once in a while, we're calling for a perfection that does not exist. It's a perfection that you're holding in your mind that the universe doesn't reflect.
And it's part of also the learnings. Okay, pats in the back are good for the ego. So it's pats in the back are good for ego and you feel good. Oh yeah, but you don't actually push yourself forward with pats on the back, because the problem with entourage in our industry, entourages are key for the artists because they keep the healthy mindset on the artist, but they filter the bad too much to the artist, and when that happens, you see the artists and the creators making their biggest mistakes in life because they're disconnected to the reality and they stopped self-improving. So I'm
going to use a scientific term here.
Whoa.
So yeah, from a meta-modernist approach, And that's the approach I take. It's meta-modernism. You can go look it up. I won't go too deep into it right now. But from a meta-modernist approach, there is no such thing as good and bad. It's like even the bad teaches the system a lesson. So it's like you don't look at things as like you're shielding someone from the bad. You are actually shielding them from potential feedback that could teach the system something.
Yeah, no, you guys, I agree with everything you're saying, but you guys are both brilliant. Do you guys have like college degrees or like really educated backgrounds? Because every time you guys go off like that, you guys are always on some profound stuff.
Uh, I just know all the labels. That's really all education is just teaching you the labels on things that you probably would understand. Um, a lot of people will try and build barriers around their own little kind of like thought circles with those labels and make them so indistinguishable from reality that they're just kind of like self-reinforcing their own kind of like they're protecting their ground with the complexity or the complicated nature of what they do. But things are actually really simple. They just don't want to describe it to you in a simple way because it devalues their path into that subject matter, if that makes sense at
Oh,
all.
100%. You
Um,
see it in every industry. We even see it in crypto. You know what I
every
mean?
industry.
Uh,
Yeah, even in
it's just
crypto. It's
jargon
like,
Not
to
especially
harm
crypto.
you.
Yeah.
yeah, crypto was born in intellect. It really, really was. But at its core, it's funny, crypto at its core is actually very holistic and not it's not as scientific as everyone makes it out to be. Um, but it is funny. It's like, when I first got into blockchain before Bitcoin, I knew about. I mean, blockchain is not a new technology. It's something we've known about for a long time. Um, and I saw the way it was being described when crypto first came on the scene, and I was like, "But guys, this is just another database. It's just a different kind of. Why are you calling it a ledger? Why are you creating all of these terms to make it unapproachable to people? It just is a different kind of database. It has the exact same kinds of things that happen in a usual database, except for, in a regular database, it's delete. Well, in crypto, it's burn. It's like it's like, why do you have to make it complicated? It's actually a very, very easy concept to understand if you just give somebody an analogy to something that they already understand.
Just to give you another answer, Freiler, bro, is it's not about the titles, is the way we perceive life, and I think it's more we're Renaissance. We're Renaissance guys. So we don't compartmentalize, I don't know if you use that word, but knowledge. And we're not afraid of, you know, calling ourselves creative, and creator doesn't cut you out for learning math or physics or metaphysics or going beyond. So we're just like really curious people that for many of years have studied a lot of things that some of them make sense, some of them don't make sense, but we kind of create this whole vision of the world. And that's what Rabbit was, you know, it was putting like every piece of input we can bring into our life is not good and bad, it's just knowledge and learning and a way to expand. And I'm going to say it poetically, I have to, is building the cathedral inside of ourselves. So we're just builders of the self. And on the other end, it's about, my dad is a writer and a photographer, and he had one of the most read, how do you say, columns, articles, like weekly articles in Colombian newspaper. And I would go to like this top CEO office and I would find a writing of my dad. And then I would go to someone's house and the gardener would have a writing of my dad. And I was like, Dad, how the do you do that? And it's like, if I cannot speak of the things I want to speak of, and the my dad talks about love and the importance of us together. My dad is a really special dude, and if I cannot communicate it to everyone, I failed because the message is for everyone. So I think that there is genius actually in the simplification of those concepts so everyone can understand them, and it's way harder to do it. Making a film for yourself is really easy, really easy. Making a film to appeal to the masses is really hard. Like, I want to talk about divorce and the struggle of kids during divorce, so I'm gonna make ET. Everyone thinks ET is about an alien. No, everyone, ET is about a kid suffering, going through the divorce of its parents and feeling lonely and abandoned, and meeting another kid that happens to be from another planet that is also abandoned and lonely, and finding their place in life and finding each other and realizing there's love, and love is what they're going to save them, and they're not alone. That's a fucking genius level message.
I thought it
Sorry,
was
I
about
had to go
Reese's
there.
Pieces. It's not
Oh yeah,
about
and
Reese's Pieces.
it is, and then you get Reese's Pieces to come out of bankruptcy.
Oh,
Dude,
see, that's the thing is like, yeah, that's, baseball's the flamethrower. It's like merchandising. That is one thing that that we seem to not be able to escape. And so coming primarily from a creator's mindset, it's like, just give me the resources, only the resources I need in order to create something beautiful, and I don't need much more than that. And when we get into these I need more kind of frames of mind, that's when we tend as a species to get ourselves in trouble. It's like, couldn't we just hear the Reese's? I mean, couldn't we just hear the ET story without Reese's Pieces? Do we really need to put Reese's Pieces in there? I guess we did. Somebody
I'm
did.
addicted to Reese's.
Oh boy. Add that.
Dude,
I just added that to the mile long list of things you're addicted to.
shut up, dude. This is not the place to. And we got, dude. Just my two satoshis is here also. He want, and I also want to hear. Yeah,
That's
I
another
know.
great creator.
What up, my two satoshis?
Did we want to? Did anyone else want? Oh, okay, yeah, someone else is on.
Yeah,
stage.
he is. He's here. He's here.
Good morning, guys.
Yo, what's up, my friend?
Morning, Stoji's.
Happy 4th.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Anyways,
Happy 4th, man. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, Friday. I love your videos, man. So keep coming with all that good alpha, man.
Hey, thank you. Appreciate it, bro.
Yeah. I was just gonna add, to make it more fair for the next time, as far as voting, and I think one of the ways we can do it is through the Discord, but also in order for you to vote, you must own the NFT, and that way, not just anybody can join the Discord and then just start voting for, like a popularity contest. There's more skin in that game. That's one way. We do it in another. I belong to several different NFT projects, and so that's how we do it in all the other projects.
I like that idea.
Yeah, we gotta. There's engineering effort associated with that.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to not just think about our creative contests, but we also have to think about the engineering effort that it would take to do something like that. So that's a conversation that we definitely have to take to the rest of the team to find out if that's something we can do. Not saying that we can't. We obviously, when it comes to technology, anything is possible. It's just what's feasible.
Right.
Is it feasible for us to? Is it feasible for us to take engineering resources off of pushing our next, into the next Polkadot? Because that's what all our engineers are working on right now. We're getting ready to launch Polkadot in the multi-chain, and it's like, can we take resources away from that right now? Maybe, but maybe the one engineer who's working on support could take a look at that. I don't know, but I can't make any promises around engineering effort stuff. But it's the qualification is a good idea. Like, how do we? Is there a different way, Freak, that we can qualify people to vote so
I
that
have
they
some
are?
ideas.
So let's take that part of the idea and leave the engineering part for a later discussion. Um, but I do like that idea.
I like that idea, and I think we can do something about it. And I already have ideas that I'm gonna show it to you. I'm not gonna discuss them live now, but yeah, we can do it. And Satoshi, I think qualification, it will be great. You know, so we'll have like more honest voting. I like it. That's what I mean. But you open a conversation, and I want to ask a question. Rabbit, you can say, "Oh, freak, shut up! Don't talk about that yet." But as we're getting ready to launch the other protocol, I is there are there going to be bonuses for staking in 2, 3, 4 protocols, or affiliations that gave me bonus for helping my protocol and stuff like that? Everything in DEGA is gamified, so you must have a plan for that.
Maybe.
I hate you.
Maybe not. I cannot.
I tried, guys. I tried. I tried.
I cannot confirm or deny such information.
I tried. I gave it my best. I was hoping like 7 a.m. for the rabbit. He was gonna be knocked off guard, but I couldn't do it.
No, man. I just had a goat fuel. You ever see goat fuel? It's like it's an energy drink, green tea energy drink. Oh, is that my Reese's Pieces? Did I just do a Reese's Pieces here? Did I just do product placement? Oops. Anyway, the
How much you getting paid for that?
Nothing. My girl just bought this for me yesterday, so I haven't had a chance to reach out to the Goat Fuel folks yet around how popular I am. If you see my Twitter account, yeah, you'll see how influencing I am on Twitter.
Their sales just went up for by 0.100000001%.
Oh wow, that you can even measure that. I'm impressed. So no, there is gamification that we are taking into consideration, obviously, with any new kind of mechanic that enters quote unquote into the game space. How that's going to work and what that's going to be like, it's I have no clue right now. Because there's a when you add, like, where my head is at, where I'm more interested in seeing what happens is what's going to happen, because we've got a very, very strong Cardano community right now. What's going to happen when Polkadot people start joining our Discord? And what is that going to look like? I'm hoping that starts to give us clues around how to gamify the multi-chain, if that makes sense at all, because otherwise it's just speculation. So I kind of like need the environment to be seeded a little bit so that I can make some observations.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that part. I was kind of like daydreaming when I was reading Freakden's Medium post about how the DEGA multi-chain ISPO could like trigger a bull run, and I'm like, wow, like, and this guy's got big thoughts, he really dreams big. And so I started thinking of like, what are the implications outside of just my chain for this? Because I'm mainly on Cardano, and I started thinking like, what if this was a catalyst for really breaking down those walls and building camaraderie between chains? Because even here on Cardano, we tend to be a lot of maxis. If we can't see the good in other chains, how do we expect them to see the good in us despite our flaws? And there's some good in all these different chains. So yeah, I would really love to see us really come closer as a crypto community and not such chain specific communities. And I really love to see DEGA be a catalyst for that.
Remember when I was talking about the barriers that get drawn by people trying to protect their intellectual state?
Yeah, goes to communities too, huh?
Same thing's happening in crypto. The same thing happens everywhere. It's like human beings want to be part of a team. And it's like, we see this multi-chain situation as a possibility to unite the clans. And it's like somebody's got to do it. And everyone's been trying to do it kind of like behind the scenes. Oh, we'll do it with cross-chain bridging. No, that's not how you do it. That's a technological solution. You need an organic solution as well. Otherwise, these people are still going to just be reducing themselves into their lowest common denominator of error in their individual networks and not get the benefit of being able to be actually cross-disciplinary in their approach to blockchain. It's like for me, it's like I didn't get my biggest, like my background is in psychology. Like that's what I went to school for. I'm an engineer at heart, but I went to school for psychology. And it's like until I spent some time studying physics, history, um, psychology, epistemology, which is a form of philosophy, and the philosophy of science, I didn't realize how many errors each individual school was making until I read them all. And I said, well, physics has the answer for this for psychology. Psychology has the answer for this for biology. And once I saw
Renaissance.
that, yeah. Well, I'm a generalist. I mean, that's why I'm in ops, because it's like I get bored with one thing too. I mean, it's kind of like, I know a lot about legal. I know a lot about finance. I know a lot about HR. I know a lot about all these things so that I can see how an organization can work as a whole instead of by its parts. So, it's a much more holistic way. And I think that we can, in my career, what I've been celebrated for is that the first time I was celebrated for it was HR and finance do not get along in organizations. Each one of them wants to own compensation. Each one of them wants to own benefits. Each one of them wants to like own those things. And it's like, the first thing I did was create a situation where finance and HR were friends. It's like, that's what I like to do. I like to bring, the warring factions together. And sometimes they don't even know they're at war. But the thing is it's like you get a situation. We're in a situation right now where we have to hold together and not be apart, because there are things coming. Uh, there's a reason that I'm in crypto. There are financial hands that the fiat system has kicked down the road that are going to cause, some black swan events. And there's what's going to be there to pick up the pieces. Crypto, digital assets.
This song is called Revelation. It is what it is, bro. And yes,
It is what it is. It is what it is. There's mistakes that the West has made in its philosophy that the global South and the East do get right, and we still want to build these barriers between our societies instead of learning from one another. It's like I'm done. You've probably heard me say this before, Freak, and I've said it in public. I'll say it again. This whole extractive mindset where we're supposed to be taking advantage of everybody to enrich ourselves, that's got to go away. And we don't do that. That is one thing we do not do at DEGA. We try and give the most bonuses, the most rewards, the most we can give, to a part to be able to create a better whole.
the universe is abundant, so we gotta build abundance systems, not fake scarcity systems. So this is personal, and that's why we're rebels here. We're all like, saying this is me. This is personally me.
I don't get why that's such a rebellious thing to say. That's one thing, it's like I don't
We're
get
bad to the bone.
why. I don't get why it's a rebellious thing to say that we should cooperate with one another. Why is that a
I know.
rebellious thing?
Because it hurts the system. It hurts the system, and we all
Yeah, well,
say,
when
"Fuck the
you
system."
when you've built an entire system that's based on this kind of like selfish this
Scarcity.
selfish scarcity feedback loop. I mean, I mean, geez, and crow. It's like we went through this and we went through this an entire thing in the United States, and it bled out to other countries where this one philosopher said that greed was good, and then all of a sudden, oh, okay, that just allows us to be as bad as horrible as the person we want to be. And then if I go to church, God's going to forgive me. Well, guess what? That's not how it works. We are, we as a biological entity working together, cooperation is extremely important, and we hide cooperation behind competition. So I don't even like competitive analysis. I'll do it because the VCs want you to do it. But to me, I hold my nose every time because it's like, look what we're doing with all our partnerships. It's like that kind of organic network is so powerful. It's like we're finding all these projects that we're bringing together. And it's like we're learning so much from them and they're learning so much from us. That's the kind of world I want to live in. I want to live in a world of partnerships, not a world of, I'm going to fuck you over, buddy. That's why I'm not a maxi. I mean, that's why I'm not a, I'm not a Bitcoin maxi. I'm not an Ethereum maxi because it's like that maxi kind of behavior is like, fuck you.
I'm
It's
a
like, fuck
humanity,
you,
humanity
Ethereum.
maxi.
It's like, I'm a life maxi. I'm a life maxi. It's like humanity is a subset of life. And it's like, if we're going to be a powerful instrument on this planet, I'd rather support life.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 8 o'clock. Did we go
Yeah,
off?
dude.
Did we go off
Yeah,
topic? Did we talk about everything that we needed to talk about? Does anyone have any
yeah.
other questions? I thought we'd make this one was a little more fun. Get to know freaking Rabbit and kind of like where our head and heart is at.
Yep. I think it was more personal, a personal journey also, but I think it's good. Like to get everyone in the team, we should bring Richie, we should bring the professor, we should start bringing people over and have like one of these I don't know, every other week or something like that.
Yeah, well, I'm like I do want people to know kind of like where our heart and head are at with this thing. It's not just the ISPO. I mean, the ISPO is just a it's a
Moment.
it's a it's a function that we're going to actually supply to you all to be able to, like Freiler, for example. We'll use Freiler as an example because I like picking on him. Um, well, if you want to support Freiler's work,
Can I?
why not have an ISPO that's just for subscription to his service? Why are
I was
we,
gonna ask that. Yeah, I was gonna ask that. That would be awesome.
the ISPO is such a multi-faceted tool. It's like subscriptions, paying off loans, like all those things, to support some sort of payback mechanism or funding mechanism. It's like those kind of like things that we used to treat so transactionally don't necessarily need to be that anymore with an ISPO. And that's why, from my point of view, the ISPO could become a bull run technology because it's like it completely, like I go and I went and I talked to a guy, a friend of mine who's actually building a city in Texas. And I told him about an ISPO because he's doing it using all traditional instruments. And I'm like, well, why don't you just do this with an ISPO? You can actually create, with enough support in your city, You know, you can pay for everybody's utilities, you can pay for everybody's income, so universal income, based on city support. Um, you know, you can monitor and distribute food properly, all with the ISPO as the core. And you know, then I showed him the yields and all the stuff that you can do and what's available out there right now, and he got majorly excited because the other thing that these guys think about is capital risk. And I'm like, well, the capital risk is pretty much fallen through the floor because we're doing this on all blue chip, you know, cryptos. There's not going to be, unless there's like some major stupid event coming out of the United States, you know, there's not much swing to these blue chips that much anymore, you know. So it's like, you know, we're getting some stability in the marketplace. You know, that's the only risk that you have is capital loss at the level of the actual blue chip crypto itself. And he's like, okay, well, you know, so maybe DEGA in the near future is going to be actually, you know, the foundation for building a city. That's a project that I'm working on.
Dude, you just exploded my head. I'm looking for a sound for that, bro.
Just splat.
Nah, that's power up. Dude, that's my next article. I want to talk to you about it because I want to write an article about the future that ISPOs like present us. You know, it's like everything you said, paid back loans, everything you said. I love it.
Yeah, it's like, why are we, you know, why are we leveraging ourselves with what we have right now? You could have an entire credit card based on ISPOs. All your financial instruments could change. I mean, it's just in what it comes down to, and this is the funny thing that that traditional folks don't get. It's like Visa and MasterCard, there's a reason that they're getting into crypto, and it's because they know that, you know, right now the credit and the financial networks are based on capture. And when you're distributing, and this is when you have a validator node, that is the new, that's kind of like the new credit rail. That's kind of like the new, you know, the rails that they use in the financial industry to actually take, you know, to take control of a certain segment of capital. But here it's like you can open you can't do this in Visa. You can't open up those rails for everyone to be able to participate and benefit from that. But in crypto, you can. So it's revolutionary because it's just a completely different. It's like taking what they're doing and turning it a negative space. So that's the threat.
Dude.
That's the loss of control that everyone's scared about, is that we as individuals, if we organize ourselves in these decentralized networks, we as a collective own the network power, not the one individual in Visa, not the one dude who owns the payment card systems and all that kind of stuff.
Dude, you just okay. So we got to do an event for this. We got to do a space only for this in the future, definitely, because I want to stay here and talk about it, but I need to go to another meeting I have. So it's kind of like I want to keep on talking about this. I actually want to write an article about it. So. Okay, we gotta continue this talk. We might do an event in Discord, just a live chat or something like that. But it was great having you here. It was great talking to you, Rabbit, as always.
Oh, you know, brother, we will catch up all day anyways. And everybody, yep. If anyone has any like questions about anything that we talked about today or anything like that, you know, I'm friendly, you know, just go into questions and suggestions and drop me a line and I'll answer you. I mean, come on, we're all part of the same community here. And if I don't get back to you quickly, sometimes I'll say this just in public. Sometimes people ask some very, very complicated questions that aren't easily answered. And it might take us a little while to be able to answer that question because there's some things about the engineering protocols that not all of us know. There's, we're not all experts in every little tiny detail of what's going on. And if we answer you in the wrong way, that wrong answer could propagate. So we would rather be cautious and just make sure we get the right answer instead of coming in and just giving you what we think the right answer is and then having it wrong and having that bad information kind of like propagate through our community.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Rabbit. Thank you all. Also,
yes.
hit me
Thanks
up.
for joining, everyone.
What kind of song do we say to goodbye? Yeah, let's.
How about what's that song? We need an American song because it's the 4th of July.
Oh, I was gonna play Brazilian music to say bye, but you want an all-American song? This can get
a protest song. Okay. And on that note, friends.
Take care.
On that note, friends, thank you for your support. Thanks for showing up this morning. We really appreciate it, and we'll see you out there.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Bye bye. Ciao.